So okay, here's what we've got. This is the Mobile Mark LTM 401 antenna. I think they retail like $279. This is the 4-connection version. Basically, this comes with 2 LTE antenna inputs. Well, input-output, they're multi-in, multi-out antennas. And in order for LTE to work properly, you have to actually have 2 antennas. If you just add an antenna to like a hotspot or your phone or something, it actually won't work. The other one here is Wi-Fi. So this Wi-Fi does 2.4 and 5 gigahertz channels. So if you've got the router that can output either one, this is actually for a hotspot and also for kind of piggybacking onto other wireless systems. And then we've got the other antenna here. This is a GPS antenna. This is a standard GPS wafer, so it's output. Basically, the device grabs your location from GPS, puts it into the router, which is over here. We'll talk about that in a second. And then sends the location out through LTE. So it's not like the marine system where it actually outputs your GPS location to satellites. It's just a it doesn't actually send your location via satellite. It only sends it out through LTE, but it's still a really good option for anti-theft and that kind of stuff as well. It doesn't seem to matter how early you get up here. Everybody in the state of Florida drives with their exhaust cut off of their vehicle, so it's pretty difficult to make videos sometimes outside. Should have done this probably at the desk. Anyway, so this is the router we're using. This is an LTE router. It has basically the same 4 antennas that this antenna actually houses. This is the PepWave BR1 Mini. It's actually the Max series, so I think that's something really... I'm not sure why that's important, but they like to stress that it's the Max series. So this thing comes with an AC to DC wall charger. It also has backup power on it. You have LAN and WAN inputs, so you can, like they can use these in ATM machines, for instance, to communicate with the network. And then basically the cellular is the failover. So the thing is not, if you're using it for over-the-road application, it can use cellular all the time, or it can use just the Wi-Fi. If that's what you choose to use. It's just a router. So this is the GPS antenna. It's magnetic. Just sticks to whatever. Your 2 LTE antennas are here. I did the math on these. It actually seems like these antennas are not the proper length, but since the casing is metal, that might work as a ground plane. I'm not convinced, but and also kind of a typical Wi-Fi antenna. So if this is going to be an indoor application, then you would just use these devices, or if you were going to use it it's like a less, if you weren't going to use an external antenna, you could absolutely use these, and we're actually going to be testing that in a little bit. Over here, this is, I got a DC charger for it. This is not from PepLink. This is something I picked up on Amazon. I couldn't tell you where. They're all pretty much the same. It's going to take the 12 volt in, and then also an extra 12 volt outlet that I'm going to put into the truck. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be running some tests on this thing. I'm going to compare cell phones and tablets and Wi-Fi hotspots or whatever I can kind of get my hands on, and then compare that to the standalone unit, and then also with the external antenna. So alright, so you can see we got the truck all torn apart in here, and you can see that little hole up in there. I haven't measured it yet, but I think it's probably going to fit. Just got to remove that housing up there, and then we'll be good to go. Thing with this antenna is that you actually do have to drill a hole into the top of your truck. But before you guys start freaking out, there actually is the MLTM 401, which is the same antenna. Also has it's a little taller. It has a magnetic base on it. I didn't really want that because I don't see the value in having a magnetic antenna on a truck that already has a hole in it. So anyway, I'm gonna get this thing put in and I'll show you. Pro tip: if you're gonna cut a hole in the roof of your car, make sure you check the weather first, or like do it in a garage or something. I'll have some tape. So I want to talk about this too. This is the antenna, and you gotta snake all these wires through that hole, and there's not really a good way to do that. Now the thing is, this antenna comes with like I think 3 options. You get like 1 foot of cable, or 3 feet, or 15 feet, or something. I can't remember. But anyway, there's options, and if you don't specify, I guess they just send you 15 feet of cable, and I only have to go about 2 feet. So you can see this is going to be a bit of a mess. They said it's not actually a problem, that you can just wind it up and it shouldn't have much or any interference, so we'll check that out. Alright, I got it through, finally. The weather's cooperating a tiny bit more. You can see these wires hanging down, going through there, and there it is on the roof. It's a little bigger than I expected. This is the antenna that I had up there recently. It's kind of dirty, but anyway, that's off. I guess we don't really need that now because I can use this GPS antenna, or this GPS feed, to actually feed the tablets wirelessly, so that's really cool. So I'm going to get to putting this back together and finish this up. So I've moved the truck, and I've also got the wires run through here and got the headliner back in. Just about, I'm going to put the weather stripping in and all that stuff soon. So I'm not even actually sure where I'm going to run. I think I'm just going to go back behind the stereo with it, because there's a lot of space in this whole section where I removed that whole OnStar module. So I'll kind of let you know what I do. Alright, so I went ahead and got this thing set up here. And it's just kind of setting up here, like not finished or anything. I just want to do a couple of initial tests on it, make sure the Wi-Fi is working well. The antenna is good to go. Box is solid. I took all these antennas off. Yes, this is a total mess, but I will clean that up. Promise. Well, we're getting a good preview of whether or not this thing's gonna leak. It's just gonna be raining like all day, so it's gonna be a struggle to get anything done. Alright, the truck's a mess, as you can see. We're actually doing a couple things here. I ran a speed test just now for my phone, and that is with the PepWave device hooked to the external antenna. I'm still gonna have to wrap all those cables up. It shouldn't interfere too much, but it might actually cause a little signal loss, so that's something I'm trying to keep in mind. So I'm gonna take some screenshots of this, and I will show you guys what the difference is with the, say, like a practical application where you had the included antennas here connected to the device in the truck and just kind of plugged into a cigarette lighter, versus being hardwired in and using this big external antenna. So hopefully that answers a couple questions and we get some more information. Alright, so this is with the standalone unit, and the way I've set this up, the cables are just kind of hanging there because I left the GPS antenna attached, but I wouldn't worry about it. It's not going to cause any kind of weird loss, because the antenna that is included would actually just be doing the same thing, but we're not checking the GPS, so that's not a big deal. I'm already starting to see a difference in the included antennas versus the external antenna. That's actually quite a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and check the actual gain on the antennas and see what kind of signal or reception we're getting from the towers. Alright, so right now we're running a speed test with the Verizon Jetpack, and this is actually what we've been using in the past, and it was pretty good, but I'm going to have to check and see how it stacks up with, you know, but this versus maybe just using my cell phone as a mobile hotspot. There's already a huge difference in both signal strength and upload and download speed on here, so this is interesting. And then next I'm actually going to try all of these devices with an AT&T SIM card. So I'm using a Verizon, whatever standard 4G LTE SIM card is, and then next I'm gonna go to AT&T, and there's actually a spot over here not too far away that's a known dead zone for AT&T, and so that's where we're gonna check that. Alright, so it took a second for this thing to connect with AT&T, but it did connect, and it actually, so this was like minus 106 decibels, and the PepWave with the external antenna from Mobile Mark was negative 75 when I just checked. And so now I'm running the speed test here, and we're going to see what kind of a difference it's going to make when we do the included external antenna, well, the included antennas for the device. Alright, and this is kind of the final test here. We've got the included antennas over here on the device, and now it only changed to like from negative 75 to negative 79, so it's not a whole lot, but its download and upload speeds, like the whole speed test, is going considerably slower than with the external antenna. So there's definitely a difference there. I think the key takeaway, well, maybe not. I think the key takeaway here is use a Verizon SIM card with any of your devices, whether it's just a cell phone or it's a you know, external device like this.